Water in Africa is a bridge connecting people and a language that everyone understands with different tongues. Its flowing rivers carry with them a history of peoples and a present full of life and the future. On a continent witnessing increasing challenges, whether in the field of water or climate change, Egypt was honored for 2 years to chair the Council of African Ministers of Water, AMCOW, as it was a regional platform during which Egypt sought to enhance joint cooperation in the field of water resources management through the exchange of experiences and improving the water infrastructure of its brothers in the continent. At the global level, Egypt continued its efforts to raise the status of water on the global agenda, and the AWARE initiative was supported to serve African countries by providing funding from donors to build capacity and implement projects in the field of adaptation to climate change in the water sector. Hosting and chairing the 13th session of the General Assembly of the Council of African Ministers in Cairo, with the participation of 40 countries, which is an unprecedented participation rate. Professor Hani Swellim has inaugurated the Pan-African Center for Water and Climate Adaptation, PACWA, under the umbrella of the AWARE initiative, which provides training programs with international quality standards that enable countries to effectively address challenges related to water and climate change. By raising the competence of African specialists working in the field of water, Egypt aims to train 3,000 African experts and technicians, participation in the United Nations Water Conference, and convey the messages of the African continent on the midterm review of Action for Water. The launch of the first issue of AMCOW magazine, the leading platform for providing information on water and sanitation in the continent during the activities of the World Water Week in Stockholm. Participation in the Africa Investment Action Plan, summit within the activities of the COP28 Climate Conference, participation in the African Climate Summit in Kenya, organizing and chairing the session on the road to the 10th World Water Forum within the activities of the 6th Cairo Water Week, in order to consult on African messages in preparation for the World Water Forum, in which AMCOW represented the continent of Africa. Participation in the 7th African Conference on Sanitation in Namibia, and chairing the ministerial sessions during which the Declaration of Swakopmund was approved to accelerate sanitation and public health services in Africa. Professor Hani Swellim's participation in the Mediterranean Water Forum, held in Tunisia, leading the African Road of the 10th World Water Forum, held in Indonesia, in which African countries presented a unified vision of the continent's water challenges and ways to deal with these challenges, and the launch of the second issue of AMCOW magazine. Third High-Level International Conference on the International Decade of Water Action for Sustainable Development, 2018 to 2028, Dushanbe, Republic of Tajikistan. Organizing and hosting the 9th African Water Week in Cairo in conjunction with the 7th Cairo Water Week. Chairing the 14th meeting of the Executive Committee of the Council and launching the third issue of AMCOW magazine. During this period, visits and applied research of water resources in the Nile Basin countries were exchanged, in addition to training and capacity building for 1650 trainees from 52 African countries. Upon the end of its presidency, Egypt hands over the reins with optimism and confidence to Senegal, stressing the continuation of its efforts to maintain the strong ties that unite the people of the African continent. As Egypt will always and forever support the process of sustainable development within the African continent.